Thank you so much to Girls Frontline 2 Exilium for sponsoring this video. More about them later. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine an anime where the main character is sort of a pessimistic, introverted gamer who has trouble socializing. Suddenly, this character is thrust into the company of a handful of gorgeous women who all inexplicably fall in love with the main character at one point or another. But the true endgame girl still remains a mystery. Fan service is abundant. Misunderstandings, mind games, and betrayals happen one after another, and the show tackles the main character struggling with their self-confidence while learning about the problems of and helping each of the gorgeous girls. Does this sound familiar to you? Now, what if it was a Yuri? In Watanare, or Watashi ga koibito ni nareru wake nai jan muri muri, translated to English as There's no freaking way I'll be your lover unless... I know, light novel titles suck. The main character in question is Renako Amauri, an ordinary girl who just wants to make friends without any of that weird stuff. Her whole life she's been more or less friendless, socially awkward and introverted, and obsessed with gaming and other nerdy interests like anime and manga. Wanting to change herself, she vows to become an extrovert and make lots of friends in high school. This leads her to being drawn to the most popular girl in the school, Mai Ozuka, who quickly accepts her and invites her to join the friend group. One thing leads to another, and very shortly after becoming friends, Mai confesses that she's fallen in love with Renako. Renako is against the idea of dating Mai, but Mai proposes a compromise. They'll swap between acting as friends and acting as lovers. Mai will try to seduce Renako, while Renako will try to show Mai how much better being just friends is. One of the ways Renako bonds with Mai is by playing video games with her, and I'm sure Renako would be a huge fan of today's sponsor, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. If you're unfamiliar with the Girls Frontline series, it's a 3D strategy RPG for mobile and PC where you command adorable android girls called dolls. The team behind Girls Frontline 2 Exilium is releasing a patch called Corpuscent. During this major event, players can earn 55 plus pulls, 11,000 plus collapse pieces, the free Elite Doll Balteed, and the Commander-exclusive swimsuit outfit Leisurely Heat. Part 1 launches on February 19th alongside the powerful new character Alva. In addition, the strongest second-generation doll in the game, Voimastina, comes out on March 12th. New players can also claim up to 120 free pulls just by logging in and completing missions as a beginner. Alva was born to lead. Calm and decisive, she always makes the most rational calls on the battlefield. Her exclusive weapon is the 6P33, a high-performance assault rifle modified for greater range and firepower. Release the limiters and hit them with everything you've got. From February 19th to March 11th, 3 new outfits will be available at a limited time discount. Check out Alva's new elite suit, Antya, Lena's flying phantom, and Niketa's beautiful evening gown called Night on the Silver Bay. Starting February 19th, Girls Frontline 2 Exilium Corpuscent will receive a major story update released in 3 parts. This massive narrative spanning over 100,000 English words features high-quality CG animations for a more immersive visual novel-like experience. On top of that, look forward to new gameplay modes, new dolls like Cheyenne, Helen, and Lainey, plus fresh skins and even an anime IP collaboration. Stay tuned to the official channels for more updates. Check out Girls Frontline 2 Exilium Corpuscent today using the link provided in the description or scan the QR code provided on screen. Thank you so much for sticking around for my very first sponsor segment, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Watanare was originally a light novel written by Teren Mikami with illustrations by Eku Takeshima that released in February of 2020. Shortly thereafter, it was adapted into a manga still written by Mikami but now illustrated by Mushu. The anime then premiered in the summer of 2025, airing 12 episodes. Pretty standard for anime nowadays, but surprising everyone by announcing an additional 5 episodes that came out months later, bringing the total for season 1 up to 17 episodes. The show was decently popular on social media when it came out, having a soft pastel color palette, competent animation, cute character designs, and a relatable, loser-ish main character. Although I will say, I think it may have been overshadowed by all of the other amazing anime coming out that season. I made an entire video covering the summer 2025 anime lineup, and I skipped it completely at the time. Still, its first episode was interesting enough to get people buzzing about it. I remember people posting the clip from episode 1 where we see Reneko's POV as she's freaking out during lunch with the girls, feeling like she's being left out because of her social anxiety. Many people related to that scene, and I will agree that it was pretty well done. But after that, I didn't really see anyone talking about it anymore, at least on my social media feed. I know it was mentioned in multiple of those seasonal anime videos, but those are only made after just a handful of episodes have been released, making it hard to tell how good or bad the show will actually become, and most anime covered in these types of videos typically don't get their own follow-up video unless they're really special. As for me, like I said, I completely ignored it over the summer, opting to watch the other shows that had been releasing at the time like The Summer Hikaru Died or City. To me, Watanare kind of just looked like a waste of time. Similar to my initial feelings on 100 Girlfriends, I'm not particularly drawn to the harem genre. Adding a lesbian twist certainly piqued my interest a little, but not enough to actually sit down and watch it instead of the myriad of other amazing shows just rotting away on my watch list. However, behind the scenes, I've been working on reviving my dead podcast, Magical Girl Rehab. For it, we want to watch a lot of anime together that none of us have seen yet, and Watanare got brought up. Being a harem rom-com, I figured it would be a fun show to check out with friends, since even if it was bad, we could just laugh about it together, and it would make a pretty good podcast episode. So, we scheduled some time to watch the show together, none of us really knowing what to expect. Well, spoilers, but I ended up kind of liking it. Reneko isn't anything revolutionary for an MC. She's got low self-confidence, gets flustered easily, and has trouble making decisions. She fills the role she needs to as a harem protagonist. She's kind and always wants to help others in need, which in turn makes all the girls around her fall in love. Reneko's kindness is balanced out by her somewhat cynical personality, which is pretty standard for this type of character. Reneko isn't overly nice or overbearing or a doormat, but she shows genuine concern for those around her and wants to do her best to be a good friend to everyone. I think Reneko's defining virtue is her ability to listen and relate to others. Mai immediately falls for Reneko because of how gently Reneko handles Mai's vulnerability, reassuring her that it's okay to not be perfect all the time and to take it easy once in a while. When it comes to Mai, she is almost the exact opposite of Reneko in every way. She's a celebrity model, the queen of their school, and maintains perfect grades on top of all of it. Mai is an extrovert through and through, finding no issue talking to people or navigating social situations. Even still, Mai finds herself under an enormous amount of pressure to keep up appearances, which leaves her unable to confide in people for emotional support. Other than Reneko, it seems as though the only other person Mai has to unload onto is Satsuki, her childhood friend. So when Reneko was accepting of Mai's struggles and allowed her to open up, Mai felt as though she finally had been seen, especially with how much care Reneko put into choosing her words, something Satsuki is famously bad at. After Mai begins pursuing Reneko, we start to see some of Mai's negative traits. Mai is way too pushy when it comes to Reneko, which causes Reneko to feel like she's being cornered. Although it's more than obvious from watching even episode 1 that Reneko is into girls, she still denies it, and Mai's obsession with advancing romantically with Reneko only makes things worse. Mai is very impulsive and often doesn't think about others' feelings when she wants something. She can be very blunt and insensitive without realizing, which causes her blowout with Satsuki in season 1. Speaking of Satsuki, she's kinda just Mai's Shadow the Hedgehog. She's always deadpan, cool and collected, and has a heated rivalry with Mai. Satsuki wants nothing more than to surpass Mai, who always ends up beating her in everything no matter how hard Satsuki tries. Despite being an incredibly smart bookworm, Satsuki can only ever get second place in their class when it comes to academics, which deeply frustrates her. During her arc, it's revealed that Satsuki has a part-time job in order to make ends meet, and lives alone with her mom in a run-down apartment. Reneko stays the night and gains a better understanding of Satsuki as a person, which culminates in a misunderstanding where they kiss, which completely flusters Satsuki and makes me believe that she also may have fallen for Reneko. Speaking of falling for Reneko, let's talk about Ajisai. Ajisai was pretty much unremarkable all the way up until episode 9. I never disliked her, but she was that type of sickly sweet girl who always speaks in a soft voice and never shakes the boat, which is often more than not just kind of boring. Still, at this point in the anime, I wasn't really fully on board with Mai ex Reneko. Mai felt like she still didn't really understand Reneko's feelings and was overall being way too clingy and possessive of her. In order for Reneko and Ajisai's relationship to bloom, Mai had to be written out of the show and sent to France. And honestly, I didn't really miss her. Throughout the season, Reneko has had a sort of rose-tinted view of Ajisai, seeing her as this angel who can do no wrong. Ajisai acts as this sort of girl-next-door character for Reneko, but totally not in a romantic way. Reneko, under the delusion of pure-hearted friendship, often compliments and gushes over Ajisai, which flusters her, and we quickly see that Ajisai has developed a crush on Reneko, even if Reneko is completely oblivious to it. See, Reneko's entire goal for high school is just to make close friends. Reneko, despite struggling socially, understands the value of friendship and wants to cultivate it for herself. The romance angle is something thrust onto her by Mai, but she never set out to get into a romantic relationship. Reneko, first and foremost, wants companionship. No strings attached, no romantic obligation. She sees relationships as worse than regular friendships because when things go sour, you have to break up, and that relationship is basically lost. In romantic relationships, you always have to be monitoring someone else's emotional well-being. Things can get chaotic or fall apart. With Ajisai, Reneko feels like she's finally getting that close friendship that she craves with someone who she really likes and is ecstatic about it. Totally unaware of Ajisai's feelings, Reneko seeks to deepen her bond with her friend, which leads her to learning more about Ajisai's family struggles. Ajisai, similar to Mai, puts up a mask in order to keep others happy. Ajisai is the oldest of 3 siblings with 2 younger brothers, and she's tasked with caring for them a lot of the time. This makes sense since even from episode 1, I could tell that Ajisai was sort of the big booby One-chan stereotype, taking care of everyone around her with a smile. But in reality, Ajisai resents always having to care for others and never getting any attention from her family. To her mom, Ajisai is another caregiver, an extra hand. Ajisai is never able to be selfish or stubborn or whine. She's never allowed to stop performing the role of the responsible older sister. Reneko is able to change that. In Reneko, Ajisai is able to finally find a sanctuary away from her usual responsibilities, her usual act. When Reneko accompanies her when she runs away from home, we see a different side of Ajisai, one who is still just as sweet, but also a little selfish and needy. We see that she can rely on Reneko to give her the attention she's been deprived of, and Reneko has no problem giving it to her, even if she's a little taken aback by the change. The Hot Spring arc in Season 1 is easily my favorite of the show, and it's what really sold me on the series. Reneko and Ajisai's dynamic is so sweet, but also weirdly realistic. Every scene with them was just so fun to watch, and I preferred it so much more over the one Mai and Reneko have. Because Ajisai hadn't confessed yet, and Reneko was still under the hilarious impression that she's somehow straight, their interactions felt so much more natural and reciprocated. I know Mai means well, but the way she always pushes Reneko to do things she doesn't want to do irks me, so seeing Ajisai and Reneko together felt like a breath of fresh air. I was pretty pissed when Mai rushed home from Europe in order to crash their party, but sadly it had to happen. Mai telling Ajisai about her crush on Reneko was a wake-up call to Ajisai, which leads into the final episode of the first batch of 12, where Ajisai confesses to Reneko while Mai stands and observes for some reason, and the season ends, well at least for a few months, with Reneko replying to Ajisai's confession with a simple which made me lose my mind laughing when I first witnessed it. Like, Mai has spent all of her time and energy pursuing Reneko and trying to make her fall for her, and Ajisai is able to win after a single weekend.
I waited for 3.5 years. White man did it in 1 week. I waited for 3.5 years. White man did it in 1 week.
And then has to stand there and watch as Reneko is stolen from her. Now, if this was the end of the series, it might have been placed in my Hall of Fame greatest anime endings of all time, due to the just absolute ridiculousness of Mai having to watch her universe crumble in front of her eyes, and how much I also enjoy Reneko x Ajisai. However, you might have noticed I still haven't even mentioned one of the girls yet. That girl is Kaho Koyanagi, and the reason I haven't mentioned her yet is she is completely irrelevant to the first 12 episodes. Like, not even kidding, she does nothing. There was no reason for her to be brought up in any capacity if that was where the series ended. But, as you know, in January of 2026, we got 5 more episodes of Watanare, which gave Kaho her own arc and wrapped up everything in the true season finale. Kaho was seemingly this hyperactive, happy-go-lucky, and, excuse my French, lolly archetype character. We've all seen this before. She's small, cute, has little fangs, and people pet on her head. I knew there had to be more to her personality because otherwise she was not only totally irrelevant to the story, but also disgustingly one-note and boring. In episode 13, we finally start to see more of her. After Reneko backpedals on her "hi" and puts her answer to Ajisai on hold, she struggles to face both Mai and Ajisai at school. Now she has 2 pending confessions that she's unable to make her mind on, and she starts reverting to her old introverted hermit ways. Noticing one of her old photo albums, she remembers a friend she had in middle school with the same first name and appearance as Kaho. So Reneko confronts Kaho about it the next day. Apparently, she is the same Kaho from before, but completely changed her style and personality since Reneko had last saw her. After threatening Reneko with a rock, they go out together to catch up, mostly chatting about anime and manga, since none of their other friends are really interested in nerdy stuff. On the way home, though, Reneko vents to Kaho about her love troubles, and Kaho reacts viciously. From Kaho's point of view, Reneko is complaining about her steak being too juicy and her lobster being too buttery, which just sounds ridiculous. They get into a huge fight, but then are able to quickly mend things when Kaho decides that she needs Reneko's help with something. Kaho is a cosplayer and a pretty avid one. She has a decent online following and often pays to have professional photos taken. For this next cosplay, she needed a partner and convinced Reneko to help by bribing her with money. Their second cosplay together was a huge success, and afterwards they celebrated by going to a hotel together, where, of course, Reneko ends up taking a bath with Kaho, officially making it so she has shared a bath with every single one of the main characters individually. Quite the accomplishment. Anyway, we learned the secret to Kaho's change in personality versus when she was in middle school is wearing her contact lenses. Learning from her love of cosplay, she realized that if she just pretended that she was an extrovert, she could become one. The contacts act as a sort of psychological switch, so when she removes them, Kaho reverts to a very timid and shy introvert, losing her cheerful and hyperactive persona. The season culminates in Reneko and Kaho attending a huge cosplay event together, where, of course, right before they hit the stage, Kaho loses a contact lens and starts to freak out, doubting herself and wallowing in self-hatred. Reneko, despite also dealing with those feelings, is the one who has to step up and convince her to snap out of it. I really like Reneko and Kaho's friendship at the end here. Neither of them hold back when it comes to serving a reality check. Kaho and Reneko both know what it's like to feel less than, afraid of people, to hate themselves, and that way they also know how to lift each other up. When Reneko is berating Kaho about not knowing how good she has it when she starts to self-destruct, Reneko is finally able to understand why Kaho got so angry with her, complaining about having to choose between Mai and Ajisai. Sometimes we become blind to our own blessings, and only someone else as messed up as you can have the guts to call you out on it. Next, I want to talk about the very last episode, what I liked and what I didn't like about it. Coincidentally, Mai, Ajisai, and Satsuki are also all at this cosplay event since it's being held by Mai's family's company. During the closing ceremony, Mai was on stage giving a short speech to the crowd on behalf of her company, when suddenly Ajisai grabs Reneko and forces her to join the stage with her. Apparently, Mai saw Ajisai and Reneko being happy together and decided to back off in order to allow Ajisai to win the love triangle. In Mai's first selfless act, She admits that she only wants to see Reneko happy, which led to her making the decision to move to France immediately after leaving the stage today, without telling anyone except for Satsuki. Satsuki broke the news to Ajisai during Mai's speech, and that's why Ajisai grabbed Reneko to confront Mai right there and now, despite being on a lit stage in front of thousands of people. This scene is okay. It wasn't possible for me to fully immerse myself in the drama due to the inherent strangeness of forcing thousands of people to watch you sort out your gay love triangle. The camera never moves off the stage or focuses on any character except for the three standing there, but the fact remains that these three are broadcasting their melodrama for everyone to see and hear. It was incredibly uncomfortable to imagine people watching this play out, such a vulnerable and difficult conversation. Reneko even bursts into tears and grovels at one point. I just had a hard time taking it seriously. And it really just comes down to the location. I really don't understand why this scene was written to take place in front of a large crowd because, in my opinion, it kind of ruins the whole scene. As for what happens in this conversation, it pretty much just boils down to episode 1 of 100 Girlfriends. Reneko decides that she wants to date both Ajisai and Mai at the same time because she loves them both. At first, Mai and Ajisai are completely shocked by this proposal, but similar to the same plotline in 100 Girlfriends, they would both rather be in a strange three-way than not be able to be with Reneko at all. Almost like a one-to-one of Rentaro, Reneko pledges to make both of them happy no matter what, and she'll work really hard to ensure it. I'll be honest, I didn't mind this ending, and the more I stew on it, the more I think I end up liking it. Regardless of my issues with the location of the scene, it was nice to finally see Reneko acknowledge her romantic feelings for Mai and Ajisai. Reneko's been playing a really strange game of not gay chicken this entire season when it's painfully obvious that she's attracted to girls. Also, it's been implied and even outright stated that Mai and Ajisai also find each other attractive, as well as being in love with Reneko, so it's really seeming more and more like a polyamorous situation than a harem situation. The scene with Mai and Ajisai in the aquarium was one of the more romantic scenes in the show, which was definitely no accident. You might be confused at me enjoying this ending because I've sort of made it seem like I don't like Mai. It's true, I like Ajisai a lot more, but I don't dislike Mai. My main issue with her was her overconfidence and relentless attacks on Reneko, as well as her habit of throwing a tantrum when things don't go her way. However, I think Mai really matured this arc. Sure, her idea of leaving for France without telling anyone in order to allow Ajisai and Reneko to date was kinda immature and childish, but at least she thought about Reneko's feelings for once. She truly thought that her absence would make Reneko happier, and she was ready to completely uproot her life and leave everything behind for her. Mai's absence this season and allowing Reneko space to breathe was exactly what her character needed to become likable for me. Before wrapping up my thoughts on the series, I want to point out how good the opening and ending songs are. The opening, Muri Muri Evolution, performed by Akari Nanao, is perfectly chaotic and represents how bombarded Reneko feels by all the girls' affection. In it, we see visuals of Reneko being crushed by a huge heart and also dodging tons of them while they rain down on her. Overall, the song is upbeat and fun and does a good job of hyping you up for the episode. However, the ending song Mai Ozuka by Philosophy No Dance is even better in my opinion. The intro instrumentals in the first few seconds of the song just tickle my brain in the perfect way, leading excellently into the beat drop where the song actually begins. I really love the chill and reflective vibes of this ending, and of course the adorable illustrations that go along with it. This song quickly became part of my rotation after finishing the anime, and I'm sure it'll stay that way for years to come. Overall, I really enjoyed Watanare. I was expecting something pretty basic and boring, but it surprised me by making me strangely invested in Ajisai and Reneko's relationship. I enjoyed how the series tackled the idea of romantic love versus platonic love, and how blurry the line can become sometimes. Reneko ends up realizing that the connection she craved could be found in a lover or a friend, and there's nothing wrong with deciding to date the person you really care about, especially when romantic attraction is involved. She's able to overcome her fear of intimacy while also making real connections, which is exactly what she set out to do in high school. The fact of the matter is, you can't choose who you fall in love with, which is exemplified by the ending, where Reneko realizes she's fallen in love with two people, a taboo idea, just like how at the start she rejected the notion of being attracted to women at all. But just because her love is different than other people's doesn't mean that it's wrong. Ultimately, the only thing that matters is making sure everyone in the relationship is happy. Thank you so much for watching this video, and a big thanks to Girls Frontline 2 Exilium for being my very first sponsor. It really means so much. I apologize for not uploading in January. I've been really busy working on some new projects behind the scenes. Basically, I can promise there'll be no shortage of mimiyori videos in 2026. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. Also, if you're on mobile, I'd really appreciate it if you hype the video by scrolling in the comment bar. It helps my channel since I'm still pretty small. Okay, that's all for now. Bye!
"不思議なことに携帯